بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Continuing on Surat Al-Baqarah, last week we finished Ayah number 4 وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. All of these characteristics are describing the first description of the muttaqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about in the beginning, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, guidance for those who have taqwa. And then he went and described who are the muttaqeen. الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِنَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, the ones who believe in the unseen, establish the salah, give the zakat, and from what they have they spend, from charity, giving the zakat. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ, and they believe in what was revealed to you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran, وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ, and all the books that were revealed to the prophets before us, of Musa, the Tawrat, the Zabur of Dawood, the Injil of Isa alayhi salam, and all the books that were sent down. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, and then in the akhirah, in the next life, in the pillars of iman, the believers, they have yaqeen, no shak, no doubt. And then for those descriptions, if they fulfill these rights of the muttaqeen and the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the establishment of the prayer and giving the zakat and believing in all the pillars of iman, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. These are the ones who are upon guidance from their Lord, and these are the ones who are the muflihun. The Imam, he says, Imam Baghawi rahimahullah ta'ala, قوله ta'ala أولئك أي أهل هذه الصفة. These are the people of these characteristics. These are the ones who have hudan from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are the ones who are successful. وأولا كلمة معناها الكناية عن جماعة. So ulu is basically a group of people, meaning the group of the Muslimin. على هدى أي رشد وبيان وبصيرة, the ones who are upon guidance and clarification and clear vision. The believers, they have clearness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They see with the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know the correct way. من ربهم, from their Lord. وأولئك هم المفلحون أي الناجحون. المفلحون هم الناجحون, the ones who are successful. والفائزون, the ones who basically, all these different words imply the meaning of success. They are successful in the dunya and in the akhirah. فاز بالجنة ونجو من النار من زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another ayat, whoever escapes the hellfire and enters into Jannah has indeed achieved the true success. ويكون الفلاح بمعنى البقاء. Also from the meaning of falah is baqa, which means permanence or being or staying. أي باقون في النعيم المقيم, that they will be forever in beautiful blessings and favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وأصل الفلاح القطع والشق, ومنه سمي الزارع أو زراعة فلاحا لأنه يشق الأرض. The original meaning of falah also means to cut or to cut off, and the farmers were called falah, farmers, because they would split or cut the earth to plant the seeds. Al-hadid yuflahu, basically putting the metal to metal, cutting the metal with metal, they will be successful. مقطوعا به means لهم بالخير في الدنيا والآخرة, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guaranteed for the believers, the muflihun, goodness in this world and in the akhirah, in the next life. So these are all the characteristics of the mu'mineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He started out with describing the characteristics of the believers, and now He's going to describe the disbelievers, the kuffar, and then He will discuss the munafiqeen. Like we said, about 5 ayat describing the believers, only 2 ayat describe the disbelievers, and 13 ayat to describe the hypocrites, munafiqeen. So in terms of creation, there's three types of creation. Basically you have those with taklif, without shahawat, and those with shahawat, without taklif, and then those who have taklif and shahawat. So the first category, those that have taklif without shahawat, what creation of Allah is this? They have responsibilities from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they don't have any desires.
Angels?
This is the angels, the malaika. And then those who have shahawat, but no responsibilities. They have desires, but not taklif.
Jinns?
Al-haywanat, the animals. Right? They have the lower desires, but they don't have the responsibility. And then there is the last category, which is al-insi wal-jinn. They have taklif and they have shahawat. Right? So this is in terms of the creation in general. The scholars, just as a side point, they say that the more you are like the angels in terms of controlling your shahawat and fulfilling your takalif, you're closer to them. So you feel lighter, you feel closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more you fulfill your desires and you leave your takalif, the more you're like the haywanat, so you feel heavy and you're closer to the earth and to lowness. This is a side point. So that's from terms of creation, those three categories. In terms of belief, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divides the people into also three categories: Iman, Kufr, and Nifaq. So we finished describing the mu'mineen with these attributes. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of them. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to start describe the disbelievers. Very simple, they don't believe. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Verily, the disbelievers, if you warn them or you don't warn them, they will not believe. ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sealed their hearts and put a seal upon their hearing, and upon their vision is a cover, and they will have an extreme or severe punishment. لهم عذاب عظيم. So the Imam, he starts with the first part. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يعني مُشْرِكِي الْعَرَبِ. Some scholars say it was the polytheists of the Arabs at the time. وقال الكلبي يعني اليهود. It's the Jewish people. والكفر هو الجحود. The meaning of kufr originally is basically to deny. وأصله من الكفر وهو الستر. And originally it's from the meaning which means a cover. Right? Why would kufr mean like cover? Even in English to language now we use the word cover. It comes from the word kufr actually. Why?
You cover your nifaq.
The person covers their iman. They cover their faith. Right? وَمِنْهُ سُمِيَ اللَّيْلِ كَافِرًا. And that's why the layl, the night, is called kafir, because it covers the world with darkness. It covers the day with darkness. لأنه يستر الأشياء بظلمته, because it covers it with its darkness. وَسُمِيَ الزُّرَّاءَ كَافِرًا. And the farmers used to be called kafir also. لأنه يستر الحب بالتراب, because he used to cover the dirt, the seeds with the dirt. So when the farmers, they dig and they put the seeds in, they cover it back up. They were called kafir also. So this is the linguistic meaning of kafir originally, which means to cover. وَالْكَافِرْ يَسْتُرُ الْحَقِّ بِجُحُودِهِ. And the disbeliever, the kafir, he covers the truth with his denial, basically, right? His going against. وَالْكُفْرُ عَلَى أَرْبَعَةِ أَنْحَاءٍ. And kufr can be divided into four categories: kufr inkar, وكفر جحود, وكفر عناد, وكفر نفاق. For kufr inkar, so kufr inkar, these are the four categories of kufr, is أن لا يعرف الله أصلا ولا يعترف به. That he doesn't or she doesn't know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they do not admit to any God. So this would be like who? From modern times? Huh?
Atheist.
Kufr inkar, atheist, exactly. The atheists, they don't believe in God at all. They don't even acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and then you have kufr al-juhud, وهو أن يعرف الله تعالى بقلبه ولا يقر بلسانه. This is the one, he knows there is a God, but he does not want to admit it. And he says, the Imam says, this is like kufr iblis, or the kufr of the Yahud. Right? They know the truth, but they deny it. They don't want to admit to it. قال الله تعالى فلما جاءهم ما عرفوا كفروا به. When that which they know, they have knowledge of, came to them, they denied it. They rejected it. وكفر العناد هو أن يعرف الله بقلبه ويعترف بلسانه ولا يدين به. The kufr inad, which is like kind of stubbornness, like person is being disbelief out of stubbornness. He knows it in his heart, he even says it upon his tongue, but he does not act upon it. ككفر أبي طالب, like the kufr of Abi Talib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. He actually wrote a poem. وَلَقَدْ عَلَمْتُ بِأَنَّ دِينَ مُحَمَّدٍ مِنْ خَيْرِ أَدْيَانِ الْبَرِيَّةِ دِينًا لولا الملامة أو حذار مثبت لوجدتني شمحا بذلك مبينا. Abu Talib wrote a poem about his basically belief almost. He said that I know that the deen of Muhammad, the religion of Muhammad, is a good religion, right? It's a real true religion. But if it wasn't for the blaming of the people or the cursing of the people, meaning his, because of his pride, he was like the chief of the tribe, and he feared, people would say that he is, changing the ways of his forefathers and such like that. He said that he would be a Muslim basically, he would act upon it. But, subhanAllah, because of the bad company and the arrogance and the jahiliyyah, he died upon other than Islam. أما كفر النفاق فهو أن يقر بلسانه ولا يعتقد بقلبه وجميع هذه so the kufr of nifaq, of hypocrisy, is to say it upon the tongue but not to believe it in the heart. وجميع هذه الأنواع سواء في أن من لقي الله تعالى بواحد منها لا يغفر له. All four of these categories, if anybody has one or more of them, they will not be forgiven. Right? So whoever dies upon kufr or shirk, that's the one thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive. قوله تعالى سواء عليهم مستويا لديهم, it's equal upon them, right? If you warn them or you don't work with them. أنذرتهم خوفتهم وحذرتهم, if you warn them or you scare them, right? It will be equal. They don't change their ways. They don't care. Even if you warn them about the hellfire, even if you warn them about, the punishment that's going to come, or you give them good tidings of Jannah if you become believers, they won't change their ways. They don't care. They will stay upon their kufr. Right? The second ayah, ختم الله means طبع الله على قلوبهم فلا تعي خيرا ولا تفهمه. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He covered or stamped or sealed their hearts, and they will not understand any good or comprehend any good, meaning the good of the religion. All these ayat that you see, like arran or ghishawa or khatam or taba'a, right, or aqfal, locks upon our clothing, these are all descriptions of the heart that has been sealed to the truth. They don't accept Islam, they don't accept Iman, right? And this is the greatest punishment of the dunya. وحقيقة الختم الاستيثاق من شيء كي لا يدخله ما خرج منه ولا يخرج عنه ما فيه. So the true meaning of khatam, like sealing or putting a stamp upon it, is that it means that whatever is in it is not going to come out, and whatever is from without is not going to come in. Right? This is the meaning of when does khatam on the heart. So the heart is sealed with the kufr. ومنه الختم على الباب. Then they say the lock or the seal upon the door, when it locks, it keeps those inside or from getting out, and it keeps those from outside from getting in. And قال أهل السنة أي حكم على قلوبهم الكفر لما سبق من علمه الأزلي فيهم. The people of Ahl Sunnah, and they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put kufr upon their hearts for knowledge that He has had in His foreknowledge, basically. This one has some explanation to it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not do khatam before they are given a chance, because that would be dhulm, right? It's not fair if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, He puts a seal upon a person's heart so they can't understand the truth, and then punishes them, throws them in the hellfire for it. Hasha lillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't do that. But some deviant groups actually say something like that, They say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enforces, He makes some people kafir and some people mu'min, and He basically controls them like that and punishes them for that. And that's not the correct belief of Al-Sunnah. Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given human beings the choice to choose from right or wrong. However, He knows the choice that person is going to make. An example of in the dunya I can give is like, it's a, وَلِلَّهِ مَثُلُ الْأَعْلَى, there's no comparison to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but just a human example that we can kind of relate to. If you're a teacher, if some people have been teachers in school, you give all the students the same books, you give all the students the same support, for example, everything. But such and such students, they're going to get a bad grade, and such students are going to get a very good grade. Because you have a lot of experience in teaching, and you have experience with these students, right? You're not forcing them to fail, you're not helping them to be successful, but does that mean, that you're doing injustice to any of the students? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Al-Alim, He knows everything. مَا كَانَ وَمَا كَائِنٌ وَمَا سَيَكُونُ وَمَا لَمْ يَكُنْ لَوْ كَانَ كَيْفَ يَكُونُ. Right? Everything that was, everything that is, everything that will be, everything even that wasn't, how it would be if it was, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows. So just because He knows, it does not mean He forced anybody. Because He knows they're going to make those choices, He gave everybody the right way. Right? He gave us the sabilain, the two ways. He showed us the path to Jannah and the path to Nar. And He gave us the free will to decide which one we want to do. If you do the actions of the people of Jannah, you go to Jannah. If you do the actions of the people of Hellfire, you go to the Hellfire. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows. And what's the proof that He doesn't force anybody? It's in this ayah right here. Before, the first ayah was what we discussed about the disbelievers. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Right? So they disbelieve first. Then the second ayah, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. So the kufr and the inad and the disbelief and the rejection came first, and then the punishment of khitam or the qalb came after. The other ayah in Surat Al-Mutaffifin, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Right? مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, from what they used to earn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did khatam upon their qulub. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala لَا يَظْلِمُ أَحَدًا. Allah does not do injustice to anybody. Right? It's مِمَّا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ, from what their own hands have earned. Allah gives them chance upon chance upon chance, but they still reject. Right? Even, subhanAllah, look at the disbelief of تَبَّتْ يَدَا أَبِي لَهَبٍ وَتَبٍ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala حَكَمَ عَلَى كُفْرِهِ. He said that he is, him and his wife basically are going to the hellfire. His knowledge is complete, because if Abu Lahab, he wanted to play around and try to negate or prove Muhammad ﷺ or the Quran wrong, he could have been like the munafiqeen and said, I believe, so the Quran is wrong. But because of his kibr and his juhud, his arrogance and his denial and his basically rejection of the Islam, he refused even after to do that because of his pride. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows, because of his actions, he earned the khatam upon his heart, and he did not believe. Right? So the groups that say Allah does the khatam upon the hearts before, that is not a correct interpretation, and that is indication of injustice to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we say that Allah, He knows everybody what's going to happen, but He does not force anybody. Is that clear? Okay, jazakumullah khair. وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts upon their hearing also a cover or a seal. فَلَا يَسْمَعُونَ الْحَقَّ وَلَا يَنْتَفِعُونَ بِهِ. So they do not hear the truth and they do not benefit from it. وَأَرَادَ عَلَى أَسْمَاعِهِمْ كَمَا قَالَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَإِنَّمَا وَحَدَهُ لِأَنَّهُ مَصْدَرٌ. A grammatical point, it says سَمْعِهِمْ, which is like singular, because it is basically like a noun to cover all hearing, basically, right? Those all disbelievers, their hearing is stopped from hearing the truth once they reach that stage. وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة هذا ابتداء كلام غشاوة أي غطاء فلا يرون الحق. Also a cover. The ghishawa is like covering their eyes, they don't see the truth. Right? So the mu'min, the believer, subhanAllah, Allah Azza wa Jal, He gives him the nur to see with the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to listen to that which is good, and to stay, to be benefited from the Quran, the ayat, and the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the disbelievers, they have khatam and ghishawa, so they don't benefit, right? لهم قلوب لا يفقهون بها وهم أعين لا يبصرون بها وآذان لا يسمعون بها. Right? They have hearts they're not going to understand. They have eyes that can't see. They have ears. So not literally, like they're not blind literally, but they're blind to the truth. Right? And this is one of the greatest punishments from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have the ayat in front of you, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't benefit from them whatsoever. You don't come to guidance. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us so much ni'mah and blessings, but the greatest blessing He gives us is for us to be able to accept the truth. For us to be able to become Muslim, mu'min, muhsin, insha'Allah. ولهم عذاب عظيم أي في الآخرة وقيل القتل والأسر في الدنيا والعذاب الدائم في الآخرة. The punishment for these people, they will have a severe punishment. Some scholars say that they will have punishment in the dunya, either through imprisonment or death penalty, or they will have punishment in the akhirah where they will have the hellfire forever. Right? We don't think about it sometimes, but has anybody experienced getting burned before, or like how painful that is? Some Salaf used to actually hold like the candle to their skin to see how it would feel, to remind them, right? This is just a temporary thing. No matter how much you get burned, it's just a temporary thing. But imagine a person not being able to escape that fire. And it's not the fire of the dunya. The fire of the dunya, the hottest fire of the dunya doesn't equal even like 1/70 of the fire of the hellfire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make that their skin is thick, extra thick, and they will be extra large, so they will have more severe punishment over and over. Right? So it shows that the sin of disbelief is the most grievous of sins, because that's the one sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive. And that's the one sin that is deserving of the hellfire, and the punishment is so severe. Right? And more than that, they won't even be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Yawm al-Qiyamah. For the believers, they will have Jannah, and they will get to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their Lord, their Creator. In the dunya you can't see Allah, but you believe in Him, and you work, and you do the good deeds, and you hope for Him, and you hope for Jannah. So in the akhirah, one of the greatest gifts of Jannah will be to see your Creator. And for the people of the hellfire, one of the greatest punishments will be, they will never be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ كَلَّا إِنَّهُمْ عَنْ رَبِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَمَحْجُوبُونَ. They will have a hijab between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They disbelieve Him in the dunya, and they won't have the pleasure of seeing Him in the akhirah. And worse than that, this continuous adab. May Allah protect us from that. And the original word of the adab, وَالْعَذَابْ كُلُّ مَا يُعَانِي الْإِنسَانُ وَيُشَقُّ عَلَيْهِ. Anything that causes suffering to a person or makes it difficult for a person is called adab. And then Khalil, who was a famous grammarian and Arabic linguist from the past, he said, Al-adab ma yamna al-insanu an muradihi. The adab is something that prevents a person from reaching his goals or reaching his desires. وَمِنْهُ الْمَاء الْعَذْبِ لِأَنَّهُ يَمْنَعَ الْعَطْشِ. So sometimes you'll see that water is described as the adab. It's because the water prevents thirst, right? Just like in the adab al-akhirah, they will be prevented from any khair. In the hellfire, the people will be prevented from any khair. So I used to actually wonder when I was younger why they call it ma al-adab. Like, why is it means like a punishment almost. But the meaning is that the water actually prevents thirst, right? Just like the adab in general prevents somebody from what they desire the most. So the people of the hellfire, they will desire the most to just get out, right? And they won't be able to. They will get so bad, they wish they were turab, يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ تُرَابًا. Right? Can you imagine that they won't even want to exist? That's how bad the punishment is. May Allah protect us from that. So those are the first two categories of, in terms of the iman. We said mu'mineen, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finished describing the kafirin, and now He will go into the munafiqeen. So we said the mu'mineen was 5 ayah, the kafirin was only 2 ayah, the munafiqeen is 13 ayah, right? Why is this? Anybody have an idea? We talked about it once before, but maybe you don't remember, or...
Nifaq is very important, and it's not easily identified, so it's more stressed upon in Islam to be cautious of not being a munafiq, because the Islam is clear, you announce it, and the inkar is also clear, you deny it. What remains in between, and you don't know, because it says kalima, la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, but still they don't believe in heart, so it's hard to identify them.
Yes, mashallah. It's hard to identify the munafiq, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us all these descriptions of them to give us a clear sight of who the munafiqeen, right? And also, like he said, the Muslim, the mu'min is simple. He believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he does the good, he stays away from the evil. The kafir is simple. He disbelieves in Allah and khalas. He announces it out loud so everybody knows it. But the munafiq, he's complex. Because he announces Islam, he prays, he fasts, but inside he doesn't believe. And the munafiqeen are actually more of a threat to the ummah of Muhammad ﷺ than the kafirin, right, in general. And if you look in the history of Islam, a lot of the times, if not most of the times, the ummah was destroyed or hurt or put back because of the evil effect of the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, right? And the Prophet ﷺ, he warned about this in many ahadith, how they will come from even your skin and they will speak your language, but they will be more evil to you than the disbelievers, right? So they're very dangerous. So that's why some of the scholars say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He spent many ayat discussing them, so the believers will take the precautions and have a better understanding of them, so inshallah not to be trapped by them. Obviously, we can't know for sure every single munafiq, but sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the signs of who is a munafiq. So he starts off, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ وَآمَنَّ بِاللَّهِ. So there are some people who say or claim they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is revealed for the hypocrites. Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, Mut'ab ibn Qushayr, Wajid ibn Qais, wa ashabihim. Some scholars say that was revealed specifically for some of these people that lived at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. These were the hypocrites. حيث أظهروا كلمة الإسلام ليستموا من النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه. They apparently said the word of Islam so they can be safe from the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, meaning that they won't be outward enemies. وَاعْتَقَدُوا خِلَافَهَا, but they believed in the opposite. وَأَكْثَرُهُم مِنَ الْيَهُودِ, and most of them are from the Jewish people. وَالنَّاسِ جَمَعَ إِنسَانٍ سُمِيَ بِهِ لِأَنَّهُ أَحَدٌ أَهَدَ إِلَيْهِ فَنَسِيَ. So the word insan or nas comes from the word insan, and it has two meanings, the scholars say. One meaning comes from the word to forget, right? Because we took an oath or we made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to believe in Him before we were even created. أَخَذْنَا عَهْدًا, right? From Bani Adam. And we forgot, many people forgot that oath. So that's why an insan, لِنِسْيَانِهِ, for his forgetfulness. كما قال تعالى وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلُ فَنَسِيَ. As Allah said that we promised, or we took the oath from Adam before and he forgot. وَقِيلَ لِظُهُورِهِ مِنْ قَوْلِهِمْ آنَسْتُ. The other meaning of ins or insan or humans, the meaning comes from the word anastu, which means to take pleasure or to take company. Like the word Tunis, that's what they say originally from. My father's from Tunis. My mom's from Maghreb. So. But anastu, like you take pleasure in company, you get together. So people in general are a social creature, right? So that's why we're called insan or nas, right? Because we come together or we can take pleasure. So وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ وَآمَنَّ بِاللَّهِ. So some from these people, they say they believe in Allah, وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and the Akhirah, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ, but they are not believers. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ. They think that they're fooling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they are the ones who are fooled. Imam, he says يخادعون الله أي يخالفون الله وأصل الخداع في اللغة الإخفاء ومنه المخدع للبيت اللي يخفى فيه المتاع فالمخادع يظهر خلاف ما يضمر والخداع من الله في قوله وهو خادعهم أي يظهر لهم ويعجل لهم من نعيم في الدنيا والخلاف ما يغيب عنه من عذاب الآخرة وقيل أصل الخداع الفساد معناه يفسدون ما أظهروا من الإيمان بما أضمروا من الكفر. So basically the different meanings of this ayah is that the disbelievers or the hypocrites, they're trying to hide, they think they're fooling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're fooling the believers, right? The original meaning of khida is to hide or to keep secret that which you are apparent with. So you show your face with something, but inside is something else. And this is the munafiq, right? So they think they're fooling Allah and they're fooling the believers, but Allah says, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. But they're not fooling anybody except themselves and they don't know. The khida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like the makr also. In the human beings, plotting or tricking or doing these type of things is not a praise characteristic. But with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He does it, it's in the best and most praiseworthy manner because He only does it to those who are deserving. And it's not in any way related to the way that human beings do it. There's no لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There's no comparison to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So any action He does is the best of actions, the most perfect of actions, the most beautiful actions. Even if the description in human form is something that's not praiseworthy, but with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is praiseworthy because He does it to those who deserve it. So the Imam says in tafsir that the khida' of the munafiqeen, the fooling of them or tricking them or plotting against them, is that He gives them time in the dunya and He gives them ease, and He thinks that they think they're getting away from it, and then in the akhirah He gives them the surprise that they've been waiting for, which is the adab and alim, the huge punishment that they will have, dark al-asfali min an-nar, the lowest part of the hellfire, that they will be there forever. That's the true khida' for them. They think they fool Allah, they think they fool the Muslim, they think they hurt the Islam, they think they hurt the Muslim ummah, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is waiting for them, and Yawm al-Qiyamah they will get what they deserve. Another tafsir is that they will, so on Yawm al-Qiyamah, before going to the Sirat, the people will be divided and everybody will go to the place they're supposed to go to. So the kuffar will be, and the people of the book that disbelieved will be thrown into the hellfire, and the believers will be lining up to go to the Sirat. With them are the munafiqeen, right? Because outwardly they professed iman. They said the shahada, they prayed, they maybe fasted, they gave zakat, all these things, maybe even made hajj, right? So they're apparently with the Muslimin. So they are at this point about to get in the Sirat, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes them. So even then, they're thinking they're going to get away with it, they're going to make it to Jannah, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows them reality and they get thrown into the hellfire. So that's also another way, that they were plotting against the believers in this dunya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plotted against them on the akhirah and showed them the truth. وقوله وهو خادعهم أي يفسد عليهم نعيمهم في الدنيا بما يسيرهم إليه من عذاب الآخرة. Like we said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the na'im of the dunya and using it against them to what they will achieve or go forward to in the akhirah, meaning the punishment of the hellfire. ومعنى يخادعون قال الحسن معناه يخادعون الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم كما قال الله تعالى إن الذين يؤذون الله أي أولياء الله وقيل ذكر الله ها هنا تحسين. So the meaning, like also some scholars say that obviously they're not hurting Allah or fooling Allah or bothering Allah, but the believers, awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? They try to fool them, they try to trick them, they try to deceive them, they try to hurt them and misguide them and plot against them, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of all that they are doing and He will take care of them. القصد بالمخادعة مخادعة الذين آمنوا. So basically the meaning of the mukhada, of deception, of fooling, of trying to deceive, is they're trying to deceive the believers, right? And like I said, in Islamic history is full of the hypocrites trying, like the Muslims on the verge of success, achieving greatness, it's always the munafiq who comes and pulls the rug from under them and causes them to lose battles sometimes, or he gives up the believers, right, to get for power or for wealth or for whatever it is. Even till this day, subhanAllah, a lot of the Muslim countries, they're giving their wealth, their natural resources to the former European colonizers for nothing. Like phosphate, oil, gas, all these things. They made contracts with them when they were colonized that they would get, basically for something that would cost $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, they pay 1 cent per 100 or 1,000 or 10,000. How did they get these contracts? Right? From the munafiqeen, the people that they want to get rich themselves, they want to get power, they want to get position, and they sold their country, they sold their fellow Muslims for a cheap price. Right? Until the day, still the Muslims are suffering, but inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He lifts this cover or this nifaq from our ummah. إلا أنفسهم, except that they fool, لأن وبال خداعهم راج إليهم. Basically, the punishment of their deception, they're trying to fool the ummah, will come back and hurt them. لأن الله تعالى يطلع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن نفاقهم فيفضحهم في الدنيا ويستوجبون العذاب في الآخرة. Basically, Allah, He exposes them sometimes in the dunya. To the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He shows who the munafiqeen are also, and they will be punished in the akhirah. أنا في آية 9 Surat Al-Baqarah. وما يشعرون أي لا يعلمون أنهم يخادعون أنفسهم. لا يشعرون means they don't know. They don't know that they're fooling themselves. Right? The munafiq, they think they're slick. They think they're winning. They think they fooled everybody. They're going to be successful. They got their wealth. They have their position. Right? They hurt the Muslims. They got away with it. They didn't get caught. But they don't know. لا يشعرون وما يشعرون that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching and they're going to get what they deserve. عاجلا أو آجلا. In the dunya or in the akhirah. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He exposes them in the dunya and they get the punishment, and sometimes He keeps it for them in the akhirah and they will get what they deserve, which is even worse, far, far worse punishment. في قلوبهم مرض. They have a sickness in their heart, and that's the shak and the nifaq, the doubts and the hypocrisy. والأصل المرض الضعف. The original meaning of marad, sickness, is weakness. وسمي الشك في الدين مرضا. And anybody having doubt in the religion is called a sickness. Right? Just like iman is shifa, or Quran is shifa for the heart, and life for the heart, ahya. Marad, shak, is the sickness of the heart. لأنه يضعف الدين كالمرض يضعف البدن. Because shak or doubt will weaken the religion just as sicknesses, worldly sickness, will weaken the body. Right? And the heart is basically the most important part of the Muslim. Right? ألا أن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. That verily there's a morsel of flesh in the body. If it is correct, then all the Muslim's affairs, the person's affairs will be correct. And if it is corrupted, then all his affairs will be corrupted. ألا وهي القلب. The Prophet said, verily it is the heart. Because the heart is what true iman comes from. True belief comes from. And if a person has sickness in the heart, it begins to weaken their iman. The worst case scenario is this one here, the nifaq, the munafiqeen. Right? Because their hearts have become sealed completely. Or kufr, or shirk, when they have gone completely against iman. But there are other amrad or other sicknesses that could lead to these greater sicknesses of closing the heart. Right? Like when people have jealousy, when people have hatred for other than the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when people have envy, when people have lust, too much lust, when people have too much, greed. All these are leading to sicknesses. And they can actually sprout nifaq and sprout kufr. Right? Because it's like the Prophet said, when the black dot is placed upon the heart, the more the dots come, the more and more until it is sealed completely. And that's when we said, أعوذ بالله كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts ran upon their hearts, cover, seal, right? ختموا على قلوبهم. At that point, they won't hear any goodness anymore. They won't see any goodness anymore. They won't pay attention. They will become deeper and deeper into the kufr and nifaq until a'udhu billah, the hellfire. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's warning us now and describing to us the characteristics of these disbelievers and these hypocrites, so we won't fall into that. في قلوبهم مرض شك نفاق وأصل المرض, we said that, فزادهم الله مرضا لأن الآيات كانت تنزل تترى آية بعدها آية كلما كفر بآية ازدادوا كفرا ونفاقا. Allah says that He increased their sickness. فزادهم الله مرضا. Because why? Every time a new ayah came down, every time a new call to them of Islam came to them, they became deeper and deeper in their rejection, in their arrogance, in their disbelief. So they became deeper and deeper in their sickness of the heart and kufr and nifaq. وذلك معنى قوله تعالى وأما الذين في قلوبهم مرض فزادتهم رجسا إلى رجسهم. And this is the meaning of the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that for those who have sickness in their heart, Allah, He increases their corruption upon their corruption. Right? Their heart just becomes sick and sick. Right? It, like I said, it becomes to the point where it's sealed and it cannot accept good anymore. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ مُؤْلِمٌ يُخْلَصْ وَجَعَهُ إِلَى قَلْبِهِمْ. That basically they will have a severe punishment بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ, from what they used to lie about, or what they used to try to deceive the Muslims about. Another ayah, another qira'ah, وَمَا كَانُوا بِمَا كَانُوا يُكَذِّبُونَ. Right? So this is from the hypocrites. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He places the punishment upon them by having their hearts sealed, and they could be exposed in the dunya, but even if they get away with it in the dunya, then they will be taken into account in the akhirah. Right? Nobody's going to escape death. I don't care if they're atheists or whatever they say, they don't believe in God, whatever they say, they cannot deny the fact that every human being, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, everyone will die. Right? And then the truth will come. Those who are mu'min, muhsin, Muslim, fearing Allah, hoping for His rahmah, fearing His adab, they will be the happiest Yawm al-Qiyamah. When they die, the bushra will start. The angels will come and take them in the best of manners. And they will start seeing their place in Jannah and saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hurry, make the Qiyamah come so I can go to my home in Jannah. And then the munafiq and the kafir, when they die upon their kufr, the reality of punishment will begin. From the moment the angel is taking their soul, even their soul is saying, don't take me out, please don't take me out, because they're so scared of what's happening. And the angel takes their soul out. And it just gets worse and worse and worse from there, until a'udhu billah, Jahannam. So the munafiqeen don't think that they can, they will get away with it. Right? All the damage that has been done, all the people that maybe apparently got away with it, they're not going to get away with it in the akhirah. So we'll stop here inshaAllah. We'll start ayah number 11 next week. If there's any comments or corrections or questions, tafaddalu. We have about 2 or 3 more minutes and then we will start.
You seem to have repeated many times same things.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah it's beneficial.
It's better to go faster and finish.
I've covered only every ayah I do each week. I spent more time on certain concepts because it needed more explanation, but I haven't repeated that.
Come back.
No, I didn't go back. I go back in the beginning just to do muraja, but
okay.
inshallah. But I'll be cognizant, inshallah, if I won't. But if you repeat repetition, we read Surat Al-Fatiha. Why do we read it so many times?
Huh?
Why read Surat Al-Fatiha every time?
Yeah. I do it.
Why? We repeat it.
Yeah.
Because repetition will teach us, inshallah.
No.
Jazakallah khair. Yallah, anything else?
I do that all the time.
Alhamdulillah.
even before I sleep.
طيب. We'll stop here. بارك الله فيكم. سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.